In this recording, we'll be learning how to make a distance time graph. We'll be doing this in Excel, and I'm using Office 2013 version. Okay, for this investigation, I've made a command block stopwatch in Minecraft, and I'm going to use this to help me record some data. So what it does, as soon as I'm going to walk backwards along the track, and as soon as I step over this pressure plate, this time is going to start, and you'll see the time in the right hand side of the screen. I'm just going to place some blocks, and when I play back, I'll be able to record at what times the blocks were placed, and then record my data, and then I can come back and count or work out the distance where each block was placed, and then I'm going to use that data to create a distance time graph. So okay, so all I need to do is start walking backwards and placing blocks, and hopefully I can go in a straight line. So it doesn't matter where I place the blocks, or when I place the blocks, I mean, because the it's going to be recorded, so I can do it, you know, different, not at a constant time period. So that's hopefully what we'll get, because I'm moving at a constant speed. I should get, oh, and the stopwatch is stopped. And actually here I'll just show you can reset the stopwatch if I tread on this one. So we'll just go up and have a look at our track. If I turn around and go sideways, nope, other way. Okay, go up a bit more. Whoop. Go. All right, there we go. There's our track. So I'm going to plot that data. Okay, we can go back to our Excel spreadsheet now, and I've recorded the results here. So I went back and looked at the video and wrote down the time that I placed each block, and these are the distances that each block were placed. So we're going to do a graph of this data. Okay, but first I'm going to fix this. I needed to add my unit. So one block in Minecraft is equivalent to about 1 meter. Okay, so to do the graph, we're going to do an XY scatter plot. We need to go insert, so not a line graph, we need an XY scatter graph. Okay, so because we want to show the relationship between distance and time. So we don't want a line included because we're going to do a trend line. So all I need to do is click scatter graph. I'm going to change my heading here and call it distance time graph. We'll just get rid of that. So we want to add our axes. It's always important to add titles on our axes. So so this one is distance. Make sure you include the unit, and this one is time. Okay, so time is seconds. All right. So the next thing we'll do is add a trend line. Okay, it looks a pretty good line here, a bit funny here, and we'll talk about the reason for that in a minute. Okay, to add our trend line, we select our data, click on the X. Oh, this is so much easier in Microsoft Office 2013. Trend line. Okay, we can see it's starting to put a trend line, but we're going to, might just unclick that for a sec. We're going to add, look at some options. Okay, so we want a linear line graph, a linear trend line, sorry. There's a couple of things that we could do. we could set the intercept at 0, okay, but I wouldn't in this case because I'll talk about, you know, we've got a bit of an error happening here due to how I place the blocks. I place them sort of a couple of blocks away from me as I when I began, you know, along the way. So that's why you've got this sort of delay happening here. So I think we'll keep the trend line following the data. Okay, this feature here is to add an equation. Okay, so we've added an equation to our graph. Okay, so I can just cancel out of that one. So what's this equation actually telling us? Well, it's in the form of a linear equation. So this 4.3737 is actually the slope. So it's m, and the slope is given from the graph by rise over run. So if you look at what rise over run is, it's actually, you know, the change in distance over the change in time. So effectively, the m, or the slope, gives you the average speed. And this part of the equation is, or it's minus 5.31, is actually the y-intercept. So in a previous investigation in Minecraft using the avatars, we estimated that the average speed was about 4.3 meters per second. So this being 4.4, pretty close. Okay, now have a think about some of the sources of error in this investigation. How could this investigation be made more accurate and more reliable? I'll leave you there.